Hey guys, if you think a flashlight is just a tube with a battery and an LED, oh, they've come a long way since then. For some things, a 1-cent light might be enough, but sometimes you need a flashlight that costs $1,000, and even that's not the top. There are so many brands out there, and some of them make seriously cool stuff. So today we're comparing flashlights that cost anywhere from $0 to $1,000. Honestly, I wasn't even planning to make this video, I just needed a flashlight. Let's get started. $0. For that price, you obviously can't buy anything. But there is already a flashlight everyone carries around every day, your phone's flash. Sure, it's not that bright, but the bad thing about it is that it's always with you. Even after buying a ton of flashlights for this video, I still keep forgetting them and end up using my phone. You never know when you'll suddenly need to light something up. The brightness is around 50 lumens, though some Chinese phones actually have super strong LEDs. You won't be lighting up a forest with it, but for short distances in total darkness it does the job. $0.01. For that kind of money, yeah, you're still not buying anything. But if you got a battery, that's about the price of a single LED. And with that, you can make your own little light that actually lasts quite a while. To be honest, it shines even a bit worse than a phone's flash. But the whole point here is portability and size. You can literally hold it in your teeth and use it as a hands-free light for close-up work. These kind of LEDs are often built into power tools, so you can just stick one anywhere and basically replace that built-in light. And the cool part is waterproof. Drop-proof. There's just nothing in it that can break. It's super easy to take apart too. And if you add a small magnet to it, the LED suddenly turns into a super handy little work light. When I was a kid, we used these LEDs to make bike lights. If you attach one to the spokes like this, it creates a really cool glowing effect while you ride. 10 cents! Whoa! Now we're talking real money! For that, you can actually buy something in a store, or at least order it from China. I found these little USB LEDs, a flashlight with a lens, and even a lighter with a built-in torch. Of course, none of this stuff is high quality, but the important thing is it does produce light, and compared to a phone flash, it's already a lot brighter. If you carry one of these around, it's always ready when you need it. But this one really surprised me. They actually managed to add a focusing lens at that price, and the LED is pretty bright too. Sure, once you open it up, it's built super cheap inside. But it came in handy when I was at my country house, picking tomatoes in the dark. Didn't look bright on camera, but for my eyes it was perfectly fine. Now, these USB lights from China, those are actually built well. You just plug them into any USB port, and they shine about 4 times brighter than a phone flash. I even used them in an outdoor shower at my summer house. We filmed this video over the course of about a month. Oh, let's be honest, these flashlights like basic junk, nothing crazy. But as the price go up, so does the tech. And we still got a long way to go. $10, $25, $100 and even $1,000. Imagine what that's gonna look like. 50 cents. So far, everything seems pretty normal and not too surprising. But that's only because we haven't hit the higher price ranges yet. These are what you'd call real flashlights. Decent quality, well built and plenty to choose from. You usually find them in those budget-friendly stores. There's even one from Westinghouse. Yeah, the same company that builds nuclear reactors in the US. Apparently, one of their divisions decided to make a flashlight too. The biggest downside? They all run on regular batteries. Have you seen battery prices lately? Sure, they work fine, and the good thing about batteries is they don't lose charge as quickly as rechargeables. So if you only use your flashlight once in a while, it's fine. But if you use it often, you'll go broke buying batteries. There is also this funny little one. Somehow they even managed to fit a focusing lens into it. You can change the beam angle and actually light things up from a distance. Pretty cool. Oh, and don't forget laser pointers. They're technically emit light too, so let's count them as flashlights. And yeah, they've got diodes. When I was a kid, we'd tape one to a stick and pretend it was a blaster, playing laser battles in the yard. There are also some stronger USB lights, shaped more like little lamps. They're great if you plug them into a power bank as a portable light source. I used them once while peeling potatoes at my country house. Skins in one bowl, potatoes in another. We don't have a porch light, so it's always dark outside. And this thing actually worked perfectly for that. And then we had our first real test for the 50-cent lights. We needed to dig a hole. So we taped all of them to sticks, even to the shovels. Individually they weren't that bright, but together they lit up the whole work area. Digging was pretty easy, though yeah, it could have been brighter. Hole done. Oh, and I almost forgot these two as well. One is a little keychain light. I clipped to my dog's collar, so I wouldn't lose her in the dark. The other's a camping style light with side illumination. Same vibe, just a different shape. But hey, that's still just 50 cents. Hold on, it's about to get interesting.
Honestly, I still wouldn't trust these things. You can still feel they're the cheapest kind of knockoff China stuff. But the good news, we made it to the 50-cent mark, and from here the flashlights only get more interesting, so you'll wanna stick around for what's next. But for now,
$1. We're still in the super cheap zone here. The body is made of thin plastic and it definitely feels like it. But for this price you finally get a built-in battery. That means you can actually recharge it, which is nice, even though the batteries are pretty awful and lose capacity fast. Still is better than buying disposable ones all the time. We decided to take one apart, and yeah, it's built as simply as it gets. Then there is this one, not very bright, but at least it charges via USB-C. A little better is this green one. Besides the main and not so bright beam, it's got a UV LED, so you can check money for fakes. And it even has a built-in charging cable, so you can't lose it. Nice touch from the Chinese engineers. The most stylish one is this gold flashlight. Looks fancy, but the beam is super narrow. And the most powerful of the bunch came in this little case. It's metal with two LEDs, one regular, one wide angle for camping mode. It's really handy because it's so small. You can literally hold it in your teeth and use it as a first-person work light. But honestly, you can't expect much from these $1 lights. The only real upside is the rechargeable battery. They actually shine weaker than the ones with normal batteries. We happened to have them with us one night when we had to inflate a boat and launch it into the water in the dark. We hung the flashlights around the area, and it created a surprisingly decent working zone. By the way, instead of using a pump, we just used a leaf blower to inflate it. Once we got the boat in the water, I could see just enough to move around, totally fine for short distances. The main problem was range and overall brightness. Our camera's super light sensitive, so they look brighter on video than they really are. It's definitely not a $500 or $1,000 flashlight. But we'll get there soon, and trust me, the next ones start getting really interesting. $2! At this price point, Chinese sellers start promising thousands of lumens. But come on, we all know they're definitely exaggerating. Here is what you can get actually for real. First up, this flashlight with a built-in plug charger. You don't even need a cable, you just stick it straight into a wall socket. Super convenient for a country house. You just leave it plugged in all the time, and whenever you need it, it's fully charged and ready to go. Inside, it's as simple as it gets, just a small board and a battery. This one here is similar, still super cheap, but it also charges directly from the outlet. And it even has a magnet built in. They both shine about the same, perfectly fine for basic tasks. Now, this one is kind of impressive for the price, a hand-cranked dynamo flashlight. It doesn't have a battery at all, the LED is powered by a tiny generator you spin with a handle. I already have a dynamo flashlight, a Soviet one, but that one's old school with an incandescent bulb. So I decided to compare them. Brightness-wise, they're about the same, but the old one uses way more power. The handle is super stiff, and your hand gets tired after 30 seconds. The new one, though, is so easy you can squeeze it with just 2 fingers. Sure, it's plastic instead of metal, but it gets the job done just fine. The best one in this category is this tiny floodlight. It's got a built-in carabiner, a magnet, so you can attach it to metal surfaces, and for some reason even a bottle opener. But the main thing, it's really bright for the price. So far, this one's my favorite.
I'm honestly getting tired from this low-end cheap junk. But from here on out, things are about to get way more interesting. The next one, $5, but imagine $250, $500, $1,000. Trust me, it's about to get wild.
$5! Now we're finally at the price where things actually start getting good, interesting, usable stuff. For example, headlamps. Here is one with 3 lenses, basically a near and far beam. It still runs on disposable batteries, but it fits on your head and the lamp angle is adjustable. That means light is always with you. There is another headlamp that's basically a strip with the LED built right into the band. Also from Westinghouse. These headlamps came in really handy for us. While roaming the woods, I found this perfect stump that I really wanted to take to the garage. But you can't drive in and the entrance is guarded. So we decided to sneak it out on a bike. Headlamps are perfect for that kind of job. You don't even notice them. You just turn your head and there is light everywhere. I'd never used them before. We wrapped the stump with a cable and hooked it to the bike. A whole little operation. The rope kept slipping off, but the lights helped a lot, despite their price. They did run out of juice quickly. We loaded the stump into the car and, happy with ourselves, finished the job. This one is a slightly pricier dynamo torch. It has built-in battery, so it can light up without cranking. And when it dies, just give the handle a few spins to charge it back up. We also find a bike light that mounts to the handlebars. Will it do the job at this price? It even has a built-in horn. Clip the mount to the bar, insert the light. It charges via USB-C and offers both near and far beams. We really wanted to test what $5 gets you in real life. Honestly, I expected total garbage, but check this out. It actually lights fine. In town, the brightness was more than enough. It lights the road and, importantly, makes you visible. We rode out into nature too, and there you can definitely feel the limit. It could be brighter. After the ride, we got back to the garage to unpack the most interesting light in this category. Chemical light sticks, chem lights. Technically, they are flashlights. When you break the glass capsule inside, two chemicals mix and you get a light-emitting reaction. They're not very bright, but they're meant as emergency light or as beacons away from civilization. While we were riding in the woods filming other lights, we found a vertical cave and wanted to check its depth by dropping a stick down. Divers use these sticks as markers. They don't break easily, they're waterproof, need no power and store for a long time. Because it's a chemical reaction, heat makes it more intense. Heat them up and they glow like a reactor. One of ours cracked and we splashed it across the walls. There are also tiny versions, probably used as trail markers, maybe military. I also found glowing adhesive patches. The manufacturer sells them with this picture. We tested them too. Break, stick anywhere. I honestly couldn't think of many civilian uses. Maybe for military or special operations. A bit pricier was a huge cam light. I wanted to see if it's actually useful. Yes, it's a real light. You have to cup your hands around it so it doesn't blind you. But it lights everything around. $10. Oh, and I almost forgot, there are flares too. Can't skip those. They're more of a signal than a steady flashlight, but you can use them as a light source. Inside, they're packed with a pyrotechnic mix that burns very brightly. They're painfully blinding if you look straight at them, but cup your hand and they give out a solid burst of light, just not for long. $10! Now we're talking. That's already a decent amount of money. Sure, you can still buy some random Chinese 1 million lumen tube light, but there are much more interesting options out there. First up, this finger flashlight. And unlike the cheap junk we tested in the last video, this one actually works well. Perfect for small jobs like working under a car. Next, this camping lantern with built-in solar panel and 2 brightness modes. You can take it camping and never worry about charging it. The solar panel is pretty large and the LED doesn't use much power. It can work as a directional light, not super bright honestly, or as a diffused camping lamp. I took it with me on a trip with the guys, and we used it inside the tent. We hung it behind this little mesh panel. Pretty handy, though the body definitely feels very Chinese. It can even work as a power bank, and they included this universal cable, except it's got the most ancient connectors ever. Mini USB? Seriously? Who even uses that anymore? Cool gadget, but not something I'll buy on purpose. Unlike the next one. At first glance, it looks basic, just a regular flashlight with a battery and a charger. But the lens is tinted, and that's because it shines in a different spectrum, ultraviolet. Besides checking money, there are a ton of fun things you can do with UV light. Check this out, my teeth and eyes glow, and synthetic fabrics light up like crazy. Look around the room, some things disappear completely, others start glowing bright white. And check this, even Coke looks weird under UV. For some reason, tonic water glows. Also, look, fishing line shines too. There are even special invisible markers that only show up under UV. We also found this powder. And by the way, UV flashlights are actually used in forensics to detect biological traces or fingerprints after treating a surface. Moving on, another cool $10 light source. A laser pointer. Technically, it's also a flashlight, just with a super focused beam. When I was a kid, these were my favorite toys. Point them at people and then hide. But lasers can be used for fun experiments too. We set up a few mirrors and tried to make a star pattern. Not easy to align everything perfectly, but it's cool to see how the beam bends through a bottle of water. You've seen laser security system in the movies, right? We tried building one, a whole web of mirrors, and then tried to crawl under it without breaking the beam. You can literally see the light getting weaker after each reflection. Lasers can also be used for light painting. Set a long exposure on your camera and draw in the air. You get photos like this. Lasers can be much more powerful, but more on that later in the video. The pointer even came with attachments. Beam splitters that turn one laser into hundreds of tiny ones. There is this circular pattern, a cross shape, and a rotating one that creates moving stars, our favorite. We also noticed that when the laser hits a transparent tube, the beam actually travels through it, curving inside. And now, the most practical flashlight in this range. It still runs on batteries, but the key feature is its design. A hook, a magnet, dual LEDs, and a rotating mount, so you can position it however you want. Perfect for lighting up your workspace. We used it while trimming bushes in the dark, super handy. This next one is a headlamp, but unlike the previous ones, this one has a focusing lens. Sometimes you need to walk through a forest and light up the distance, and then switch up to a wide beam. Super convenient. Of course, it's better when a flashlight has both modes at once, but that's something you'll only find in more expensive models. And oh man, just wait till you see the next headlamp coming up into 50 category. $25. We're moving up a quarter of $100. At this price, Chinese sellers are already promising billions of lumens, but we found some way more interesting stuff. First up, a flashlight that doesn't even have an LED, because it's gas powered. You screw it onto a camping gas cartridge, open the valve, remove the glass, and light it. You get this warm, soft, natural glow. And you can adjust the brightness too. Honestly, even easier on the eyes than an incandescent bulb. We actually found a perfect use for it later on. A new category opens up here as well. Tiny flashlights. Keychain lights. You clip them to your keys and they're always with you. They're surprisingly bright. And rechargeable. You turn this on by twisting the body. Simple and clever. But we found one even stronger, same pocket size, but up to 600 lumens in turbo mode. That's basically like a full-size flashlight, though it overheats quickly and drops brightness after a while. I used both as everyday keychain lights. Honestly, it's hard to come up with a single right use for them. They just end up being useful all the time. After that, my phone's flashlight felt completely weak. I'm keeping them on my keyring. The twist to activate design is smarter. It can't turn on by accident in your pocket. The one with the button kept turning itself on, so every time I actually needed it, dead battery. For $25, we also found a rear bike light. It came straight out of the box already dirty for some reason. But it's bright and it's meant to make you visible on the road. It even has turn signals and these side lasers that project a safe zone around your bike. We mounted it under the seat, connected the handlebar remote, it's wireless, and went out for a quick night test. Even in car headlights it's visible, but the laser feature is what really stood out. It actually works! It looks unusual on the road, so drivers definitely notice you. We've had headlamps, now meet the neck light. Same idea, hands-free lighting, but worn around your neck. I wanted to see if that's actually practical. The downside, still battery powered at this price, but it's bright. And it's made by CAT, yep, the same company that builds excavators. We'll test it properly later in the field. Now for the most interesting one, this camping lantern from Hoto, a sub-brand of Xiaomi or Xiaomi. It looks and feels premium. It can work as a regular directional light. But the real magic is in the two diffused light modes. So you can set it on the table and evenly light the whole area. It even has a little hook. Right before shooting, we noted this extra piece in the box. Turns out it's a light shield skirt, so the lamp doesn't blind you when it's sitting on a table. Nice detail! We took all these lights with us on a fishing trip. The camping one was perfect. Set it down and you can see everything. First, we prepped the spot. Mix some water with bait powder. Roll it into little balls. And throw them around to attract fish. Then we waited about an hour. Put on a worm and cast the line. That night we weren't in a rush, just relaxing and waiting for bites. You almost forget about the neck light, it's so convenient, though it's pretty focused, so sometimes it's too bright for the eyes. We had a few good catches, including a small carp. We cleaned it under the glow of the gas lantern, seasoned it, and fried it right there on a granite stone pan. I'd been wanting to try for ages. Every light had its job that evening. The fish turned out great. That camping lamp, so convenient. I'd love to say, alright, time to move on, but not yet. There was one flashlight originally meant for the $50 category, but while editing the video, I realized it dropped in price, so now it officially joins the 25 tier. And honestly, it's the most overpowered flashlight here. Look at this little guy. Even the packaging feels premium. Check out this wild design. A rotating light head. 400 lumens, pretty bright. And that's not even the best part, it's got a fully rotatable clip. A magnet. A slider switch for the power, lock and charging. And the brightness is controlled by this tiny wheel. Have you ever seen that before? On top of that, it has a second RGB LED. So it can shine in different colors. It's small, stylish, and genuinely versatile. It's honestly hard to imagine a more universal flashlight. You can clip it anywhere, mount it anywhere, magnet it anywhere, and just keep it with you all the time. Backpack, car, whatever. People riding with you won't even realize what that tiny thing is until you turn it on. But that's not the only flashlight in this video that looks unusual. Anyway, this thing can be used pretty much anywhere. Rotating head, rotating clip, magnet, RGB light. And if you clip it to a cap, it even doubles as a headlamp. Seriously, such a cool gadget, easily the best flashlight for $25. But what's coming next? Oh, you'll see! $50! Now we've hit the sweet spot. The price range where flashlight makers start getting really creative. This one's here by mistake. But let's start with this absolute unit. We're unboxing an emergency dynamo flashlight. But not your usual cheap one. This thing's made by a legit brand and feels genuinely high quality. First of all, it has a full rechargeable battery, so it can shine on its own. It also charges via USB-C, but even if you take the battery out, the LED still works, powered only by the hand crank. The feeling is totally different, even the sound of the mechanism feels premium. There is also a built-in capacitor that stores a bit of backup energy. And if you leave the battery inside without using it, it will slowly recharge from the crank. Super cool idea! Though honestly, I'm not sure when exactly you would need an emergency flashlight. Next up, this strange looking guy. For this price, you start seeing lots of EDC flashlights. Compact, multifunctional, made for everyday carry. Here, the body itself is the clip. It's powerful too, with a side switch for flood mode, spot beam, and a red LED. There is a magnet in the clip, and the whole body is precision milled aluminum. Even on the camera you can tell how solid it feels. There is even a metal cover over the charging port. Imagine carrying this around instead of some flimsy $2 plastic light. Finally, a classic tube-style flashlight. This one's from Xiaomi, so it's not overpriced. Pop in the battery, power it up, and it shines in 3 brightness levels. Maxing out at 2000 lumens, that's already a lot. Looks clean, works well, but to be honest, probably the least exciting one in this category. Now, this one. Yeah, this is where it gets fun. You'll recognize the packaging style. Look at this tiny guy. It's got a magnet, which is almost mandatory for this type of flashlight. A clip you can hook onto your pants or backpack strap. And the main feature, 1800 lumen wide angle beam. But here is the trick, you can actually upgrade it. First, you can screw on an extension tube. That lets you use a bigger 18650 battery, massively increasing runtime, and it's still pocket-sized. Then you can attach a head mount bracket with adjustable tilt, instantly turning it into a headlamp, brighter and better than all the headlamps we showed earlier. And that's still not all. If your hands are dirty and you don't want to touch the light, the manufacturer sells a wireless motion sensor that plugs into the USB-C port, so you can turn it on or change modes without even touching it. We used it mounted on the helmet while riding through the woods. The mount detaches quickly, turning it back into a handheld light. Personally, I love that side-emitting beam, way more practical for work at night. No fancy RGB here, but is bright, compact and genuinely useful for real tasks. Next, 2 camping lanterns. One of them supposedly never needs charging, because it runs on solar panels, charges during the day, shines at night. The hook is convenient too. But the more interesting one is this Nexul lantern, another Xiaomi sub-brand. It's noticeably larger, because the body is telescopic. You pull it up, the light panels unfold, and it turns into a full-on table lamp. Since tables need light from above, makes total sense. It even has a metal light skirt, like the one we showed before. And, of course, a standard directional beam mode. We'll bring it out on our next trip and really test what it can do. We took all our $50 lights on a trip into the forest. To this tiny cabin I found while riding through the woods. You can only reach it by bike, and I'd always wanted to spend a night there. Camping lanterns are the most important. They light up your whole area. I clipped the orange one to my jacket and placed the folding lantern inside the cabin. The dynamo one probably not needed this time. The modular flashlight came in handy, though we kept hearing noises from the woods, like something moving out there, probably animals, but yeah, a bit creepy. So we kept the lights ready.
Sounds like some kind of animal or what?
The main reason we came here, though, was this homemade smoker next to the cabin. Time to light the fire. We brought some firewood, and while it was catching, set up the sleeping bags. With all these lights on, it honestly felt like being indoors. For dinner, we had sausages, grilled them while waiting for the smoker to heat up. But the main thing here is the smoker. We put a coal inside and add a bunch of small twigs on top to get the flame going and create a good draft. And then we build up a solid fire. Then we prepped some pork belly to smoke overnight. Inserted the thermometer, placed it on the rack. For hot smoking, you need fruit wood chips. They heat up slowly and fill the chamber with smoke. Once the airflow is closed, the fire calms down and the meat cooks gently, soaking up the flavor. The smoker's design is simple. Smoke forms here, passes through the meat and keeps it warm while flavoring it. It's a slow process, we left it overnight. But since we were hungry now, those sausages came in handy. After a long day, we crashed instantly. I set 4 alarms to wake up through the night, to add wood and check the temperature. It was cold, but peaceful. Morning came. I didn't sleep much, but somehow you rest better in the woods. But the main thing I'm after is the meat. That's the whole point of this adventure. Oh man, that smell! The flashlights made everything so much easier. Perfect tools for the job. We packed everything up. So in the end, we had our meat, and on top of that, we snacked on the stuff we brought with us. Loaded the bikes and headed home to test the craziest flashlight from this video. Oh, right, I almost forgot about this one. Another zoomable flashlight, looks like a tube. Pretty powerful. It's nothing too special, but we chose to show it anyway. The brand's some random Chinese no-name. Not the best looking body, but honestly it shines really well. Perfect for walking through the woods. For wide light, keep it short, for distance, just pull the lens out. $100! Now this is where things get serious. Most people wouldn't even consider spending that much on a flashlight, but here is where the really interesting stuff begins. Let's start with this one, also from Olight. That's a premium brand, and this is another EDC flashlight. The body is CNC milled from a solid block of aluminum, and it even comes with a collectible coin, I guess for the die-hard fans. There is also a wireless magnetic charger. since the light is fully waterproof and can shine underwater. Of course, it has a magnet on the back too. But the main thing is the triple mode switch. Mode 1, the main LED, up to 1400 lumens. It's impressively thin for that brightness, so it's easy to carry every day. Mode 2, a laser pointer. Honestly, the only practical use I could think of is playing with your cat. And Mode 3, ultraviolet light. It's actually brighter than the $10 UV flashlight we tested earlier. Once I shined it on my dog and saw that her nose was covered in pollen. Then I tried it at home and wow, you can see how much visible dust and grime is actually there. Turns out even vitamin B12 glows under UV. It doesn't have any crazy gimmicks, it's just really well made and honestly doesn't even look like a flashlight. It's one of those things that's just satisfying to hold. And hey, 1400 lumens in your pocket is nothing to joke about. Next, this beast from DeWalt, the Power Tool Company. You can't fit a massive battery in a normal flashlight without losing portability. But DeWalt already has a whole lineup of cordless tools that use the same battery system. I've got their chainsaw, nearly as good as a gas one, a circular saw, an angle grinder, the usual workshop set, and the number one tool you always need, the drill, and even a leaf blower. I use it all the time. And now there is a flashlight in that same family. It only has 2 modes, but at full power it runs 36 hours straight on one battery. That's around 1500 lumens. Sure, it's not exactly pocket friendly, it weighs about 2 kilos. You're not walking your dog with this thing. I tried, it's ridiculous. That thing is basically a dumbbell. But as a work light, it's awesome. Rugged, drop resistant, built to take abuse and just works. No overheating, no nonsense, just raw, reliable light. Then we've got a small one from Woban, nicknamed the Owl. And yeah, it actually looks like one. It comes with this charging case and a keychain cable combo that doubles as a cord, magnet on the back, obviously, and the head rotates to shine forward or sideways. It's got a 700 lumen white LED, plus a red mode, useful for military or tactical use when you don't want to be seen from afar. The body glows in the dark thanks to luminous plastic. The idea is kind of like wireless earbuds. Pop it in the case and it recharges automatically. The case holds up to 4 full recharges. And the lid even acts as a diffuser. Turn it on inside and you've got yourself a mini camping lantern. Now for the wild one, the king of the category. The manufacturer claims 8000 lumens, which used to require a giant brick of a flashlight, but now it fits in your palm. Even indoors, the brightness was shocking. It comes with a lanyard and a cable. And outdoors, it absolutely floods the area with light. It's insane! The catch? That 8000 lumen mode is turbo. It overheats fast. In sustained mode, it runs at around 1500 lumens, which is still crazy bright for its size. There is also a safety lock switch. So far, this one's my favorite in the whole video. Here is another flashlight and case combo, also from Olight, but this one's different. We wanted to see how they approached the same idea. Remove the safety top. The flashlight itself is barely bigger than a battery, yet ridiculously bright. Placed in the charging case, it can recharge 5 times. The case button even duplicates the control switch, so when docked, it basically runs forever. The build quality blew me away. Hopefully you can feel it through the screen. The tiny pyramid textured grip, you can literally imagine how it feels in your hand. They put more effort into these details than most people would ever expect from a flashlight. And I'm not complaining. I love this case idea. It's compact enough to keep in the car, and you always know it's charged. Once, while driving through a village, I ran into a group of puppies on the road, and this was the only light I had with me. Didn't have anything to feed them though. Next up, something dangerous. This laser costs $100 and yeah, it can burn your skin, pop a balloon or even light a match. Basically, it's a super-powered version of the small laser from earlier. Its focus beam travels way farther. And if you remove the focusing lens, it acts like a regular blue flashlight. But with the lens attached, it concentrates energy into a single point, and that's where the magic happens. Watch how fast it pops a balloon. It even comes with the same beam pattern attachments as before. And finally, the most unusual one of all. You're probably wondering why it's so long. There is just a regular LED at the end, nothing that screams ultra bright. But that's because this is a camping tower light and it's modular. You can detach the top and use it as a regular flashlight. But the lower section unfolds into a tripod and it extends way up, taller than me. It even comes with stakes for the legs, so you can anchor it securely outdoors. The lamp simply screws onto the top and boom! Full area lighting. It's like camping light on steroids. I don't think you can get anything better than this. Super bright, long-lasting, and the whole thing packs down small. We used it during a barbecue trip with the guys. Sure, you could mount any flashlight on a tripod, but having it all integrated into a one neat setup, that's next level convenience. By this point in the video, we've seen weird lights, powerful ones, and everything in between. But this tower light is easily my current favorite. It's so portable, just grab it, move it, unfold it again. When we set up the tent, it lit up the entire campsite evenly, like having a ceiling lamp outdoors. You almost forget it's even there. The darkness just becomes comfortable. Phew, what a lineup! I love this category. Every single flashlight found its place. One for the jacket, one for the car, one for the garage. And good thing we had them all with us, because they really came in handy later. We got stuck with the car at night and had to pull it out with the winch. One light went on the tree, one on the car, and one we carried by hand. That's how we managed to free it. I always keep a tow strap in the trunk, so we weren't too worried. Just needed to reach the nearest tree. Hooked up the winch, attached the strap, and slowly pulled the car out. At first, I tried giving it some gas to help. But honestly, the winch had enough torque to do it alone. The funny thing is, we didn't plan to film that part at all. It just happened, and these flashlights saved the day. What a night! Time to head home, get some sleep, and tomorrow things get even more interesting.
Oh man, I think I've got enough flashlights to last me a lifetime. But the best part still ahead. 250, 500 and 1000 bucks categories coming up. And if you're still here, you made it to the best part of the video.
$250! Now that's a serious price tag. Most people wouldn't dream of dropping that kind of cash on a flashlight. And trust me, if you only listen to the marketing from Chinese sellers, you'd think you're buying a portable sun. But in this part of the video, I decided to stick only with big name premium brands. We've got just two lights, but both are incredible. Let's start with this one, a headlamp from Phoenix. It looks bulky, but once it's on your head, you barely feel it thanks to the top strap. The problem with headlamps is that it's hard to make them both portable and powerful. They overheat fast and drain small batteries fast. Here they solved it with a large external battery pack on the back, and it's balanced so well that it actually feels lighter. You don't even notice it. There is a wide flood mode and a long range spot beam, and you can run both at the same time. That's 4000 lumens right on your head, running 4 hours straight, with no overheating, no dimming. Honestly, it's almost too much light. It's marketed as a rescue-grade headlamp, but you'll see later how we used it. The second one. Don't be fooled by its size. I bought it because somehow this tiny thing outputs 12,000 lumens. That's insane! It's hard to show on camera how bright that really is, especially for something this small. A diode that powerful would normally melt itself. So they built in active cooling. An actual fan inside. That let it run in turbo mode for a full minute, instead of just 10 seconds like other flashlights. It's so bright, it almost doesn't feel real. Simple design, sure, but it became one of my favorites instantly. They also include a bike mount accessory. And since this light is so powerful and versatile, there is no need to buy a separate bike headlight. Clip it on the handlebars. And check out the difference between the stock bike light and this little monster. In the city, it's honestly too much. Drivers kept flashing their high beams at us because it was blinding them. We took both flashlights and headed into the forest to explore a spot I'd found earlier. Some huge pipes crossing over a river, and I couldn't resist the urge to climb on them. The only way there was by bike. That headlamp on the helmet was perfect, you don't feel it at all, and it's 10 times brighter than the bike's own light. Wherever you look, it lights up the whole scene. I've never felt so comfortable riding through the dark. It's hard to show their full power on camera in the woods. But out in the open field, look how far that beam reaches. You can literally see hundreds of meters ahead. I didn't expect that from such a small light. We kept riding toward the spot. The second flashlight was mounted on the other bike, and together they lit up the trail like daylight. We nearly got lost, but with this much light, it's almost impossible to lose your way. Those pipes were sticking out of the ground deep in the forest, like they came straight from underground, and they were still alive. I can feel the vibration. Something was definitely flowing inside, probably water. Of course, we couldn't resist climbing on them. The whole area was overgrown, branches blocking the way. We had to crawl carefully underneath. We moved across like monkeys, trying not to slip. Turns out the pipes stretched all the way across the river. The original plan was to reach the other bank, but once I saw how high it was, no thanks. That was enough adventure for the night. But check out how much area we were lighting up with just two small flashlights. You can see everything around. This was such a cool spot to explore. Both of these lights are absolutely amazing. Honestly, I don't feel like I overpaid at all. They're worth every single dollar. Expensive, yeah, but the amount of light they put out, unreal. $500! That's half a grand, basically the semi-final round. This is where the heavy artillery comes in. We've got two flashlights here. Let's start with this one. Looks simple enough, right? Just a regular box, not even that premium out of the gate. You turn it on, the light looks bright, sure, but nothing that screams 500 bucks. So what's the catch? Well, this is a professional diving flashlight. You can't even run it in air for long, it will overheat. We've seen waterproof lights before, even an iPhone can shine underwater. But try that at 20 meters deep and it will start leaking instantly. For deeper dives, you need a fully sealed pressure-proof housing. This one is rated for 100 meters, fully functional, fully sealed, and every control is handled with just one button. It's the kind of light used by divers and underwater explorers. You don't want your gear dying on you in a cave or mid-dive. It's also great for spear fishing, which I recently got into. So this was the perfect excuse to test it. Time to dive in. The water was freezing, so I needed a full neoprene wetsuit. We get out of our clothes. You can't just pull one on, it's too tight. So you use some soap, mix it with water, and use it as a lubricant. Pour it down your legs and you just slide right in. Professional divers can do this alone, but I definitely needed help from a friend. As you can see, we reused some of the previous flashlights too. After we fastened the top and pulled the socks on, you add lead weights to counter the buoyancy of the suit. Otherwise, you'll just float at the surface. The weapon is a spear gun, and the flashlight mounts right on it, wrapped in foam for neutral buoyancy. Camera attached, gear loaded, mask, snorkel, fins, ready to go. Once you're underwater, you don't even feel the water around you. No cold, no moisture, nothing. The suit completely isolates you. All that's left to do is just glide around and look for fish hiding in little pockets and crevices. At night, they're less active, easier to catch. It's such an absorbing thing to do that time just disappears. You're so caught up in it, you genuinely forget there's an entire world above the surface. Fish are surprisingly easy to spot. Their scales grab the light and sparkle back. There were tons of small ones I let go. No point shooting those. I spent 3 hours underwater, and my cameraman was so done waiting for me. By the way, underwater everything looks way bigger than it is. I came back with around 10 fish. It's warm below, but the second you surface, freezing cold. We cleaned up 3 of the biggest fish and grilled them over the fire. Even the local stray dog came over, drawn by the smell. With all these lights around, the night honestly didn't even feel like night anymore. Insanely convenient. And the next day, it was time for the second $500 flashlight. We pull it out. At first glance, looks ordinary again, usual diodes. But check out the center. This is a laser-powered flashlight using LEP technology, laser excited phosphor. It creates an insanely tight, perfectly focused beam that stays narrow even over huge distances. It's only 350 lumens, but because it's so concentrated, it reaches up to 1.2 kilometers. That's wild! The LED sits deep inside a layered optical system, so you can't just crank up the power, it would overheat instantly. Lights like this are used for search and rescue, or just for fun, to light up some unsuspecting tree on the other side of a field. It even has a smooth brightness dial, not the usual clicky modes. But, of course, a single laser beam isn't enough. So, the manufacturer added fill LEDs around it, together putting out 10,000 lumens of white light. Also smoothly adjustable. It's honestly the perfect flashlight for exploration. Laser flashlights are always expensive. The next step up from this one is the AceBeam W50, which costs over 2 grand. These aren't meant for everyone. They're specialized tools, not toys, and the price comes from the complex tech behind them. See, in an LEP flashlight, a tiny blue laser shines onto a phosphor layer, which then emits a bright white light. Unlike big LEDs, the phosphor spot is less than a millimeter wide, so through precision optics it turns into a pencil-thin beam that travels literal kilometers. That's why LEP isn't some marketing gimmick, it's an engineering solution for maximum throw distance in a compact body. More complex, more expensive, but when it comes to range, nothing even comes close. $1,000! I've been waiting for this moment the entire video. $1,000! That's a lot of money. So this time there is only one flashlight. But it's not just any flashlight. This thing is the undisputed king of them all. Meet the officially most powerful flashlight in the world, the Himalayan MS-32. Wow, it's heavy. Inside you get a 100-watt power supply, the same as a MacBook charger, a USB-C cable, some spare O-rings, and even a shoulder strap. Because yeah, it actually needs one. Let's check the weight. The scale maxed out, a bit over 3 kilograms. And here's the crazy part, it doesn't make 10,000 lumens, not 20,000, not even 50,000. It outputs 200,000 lumens. The build quality is unreal. Look at that charging port. It even charges surprisingly fast. And the whole body is solid metal. Alright, here we go. Oh my god! I was not ready for that. That's insane! We'll test it outside later, but this thing already feels like holding a portable sun. Most of the weight comes from the battery pack. Massive. But the head is no joke either. It's got 32 Cree XHP 70.2 LEDs, each worth around $18 by itself, and 3 cooling fans built right into the body. It gets so hot it can literally start a campfire. Our first test was on a small field. And honestly, it was overkill, way too powerful for such a tight area. This light needs space. So we found a massive valley and lit up the entire thing from a nearby hill. I couldn't believe my eyes, you could see everything. Then we experimented a bit more. It's so bright it can actually overpower the sun in daylight. Yeah, daylight! It's a surreal feeling. Look how it looks from the side. We moved further away to see the beam spread. From a distance it's less blinding. But up close it's absolutely insane. It floods everything. We compared it to car headlights. And it's like 15 times brighter. Look from the front, it's ridiculous. So naturally we got an idea. What if we mounted it on the car roof? We did. Started driving, people were shocked, and we quickly realized, yeah, driving around the city like this is basically illegal. We did one lap and stopped out of pure embarrassment. When someone drives on high beams, it's already annoying. Now imagine this thing. Sorry everyone. Then we tried it on an empty street. Compared to car headlights, they look like cheap toys. But man, driving like that felt amazing. Didn't even want to turn it off. You could see our car from 3 kilometers away, the brightest spot in the entire city. Inside the cabin, it looked just as blinding as on camera. The exposure isn't lying, it's too much light. But honestly, kinda awesome. It's pretty fun using it in a dark city. You can literally light up an entire block. And here is why it impressed me so much. In my studio, I use this massive 600-watt video light. Plugged into the wall, heavy, with a separate control box. Now compare that to this flashlight. It's even more powerful. Man, that's insane. Here you've got about 600 watts, but the flashlight pushes a full kilowatt and a half. Yes, more than double the power in your hand. We brought both outside to test them head to head. That's the studio light and that's the Imoland. You can definitely feel the difference. No idea what the neighbors thought, probably that the sun rose early. The studio light has full constant cooling built in, but the flashlight, technically, it can't run at full blast forever. Even with all those fans, it overheats after about a minute in turbo. That's normal for any flashlight. But on the lower modes, it's still insanely bright and completely stable. So we decided to mount it on a bike for a night ride, far from any traffic. There is no comparison. The stock headlight looks like a candle next to it. I did feel bad for anyone living nearby, though I was lighting up half the town. If we saw another car, we had to turn it off immediately. You could genuinely scare people with it, but it felt incredible, riding through the dark, seeing everything around you. Pedestrians were staring totally confused, and honestly, yeah, it was fun. But raw power isn't the only thing this light can do. Raw power is cool, it's impressive, it's fun to show off to your friends. It's also incredibly stable and practical at low modes, where low here is like turbo on a normal flashlight, and it'll never overheat. And that gave us an idea. I'd seen a TikTok showing people catching crayfish using light. Apparently they crawl toward the beam at night, so we tried it. Mounted the flashlight, turned it on and waited. Sure enough, within a minute they started coming out of the water, drawn to the brightness. And here's the first one. Catching them isn't hard, you just have to avoid the claws. Such a weird looking little creature, but unbelievably tasty. After such a long video, this is surprisingly relaxing. Honestly, even more fun than fishing. We dropped them into a bag. Ended up with a lot. We gathered a whole bag of them in about an hour and a half. Then we decided to cook them right there. Lit up the stove, added lemon, salt, bay leaf, pepper, carrots, and a bit of dried herbs. Wait till it boils. Once it started boiling, in went the crayfish. Their bodies can't even sense the heat, so it's instant and painless. Boil for 12 minutes until they turn red. Let the broth cool a bit. And eat. You pull the meat from the tails and claws. Absolutely delicious. After such a long and crazy shoot, ending the video with the proper meal felt perfect. We ate and finally wrapped up. What a ride this was! Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.